All right, everybody. Good late afternoon or early evening. Hope things are continuing to go well. And day 3 of combine drills is in the books. So, 3 position groups went today. I don't know how much Seahawks fans are going to be into today's particular roundup because at least one, maybe two of the positions are ones that the Seahawks are not overly likely to get very involved in this offseason. But that's what the combine put in front of us, so that's what we got to digest. So, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, we're going to go through that. We're going to start with quarterback just because it's not going to take too long to get through this stuff, to be perfectly honest. The quarterbacks, it's like, well, first of all, most of them don't do the drills, which is really annoying. In fact, if you go to the quarterback page, results 40-yard dash quarterback, 3 quarterbacks ran the 40-yard dash. I think 4 did jumps. Yeah, 4 did a vert, 4 did a broad jump, and 3 did a 3-cone, and I believe 3 did a 20-yard shuttle as well. So there were 3 or 4 guys for the actual drills. Now, there were a lot more quarterbacks there who did throws, which is more important. Gotta say, I'm not a big fan of these quarterbacks not doing more of these quantifiable drills. And I gotta ask, like, why would Jalen Milroe not do these events? Like, if you're Jalen Milroe, you're living off these events, right? So him sitting this stuff out is really confusing to me. I don't get that one at all. But yeah, in terms of the actual quantifiable events that the players do, the quarterbacks basically sat this one out. Brady Cook was clearly the best athlete of any quarterback that actually did the drills. Had the best 40, 10-yard split, vert, broad, 3-cone shuttle. He was great. If you're looking for somebody who excelled at the event side of things, you've got Brady Cook, and that's about it. The important stuff, really, that happened at the combine in terms of quarterback play happened during the throwing drills. And that is the way it should be, but we had way more quarterbacks go here. If you go to this NFL.com article from a little bit ago, it lists out all the quarterbacks who were invited to the combine, and I believe the only ones listed that didn't do their throws were Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders. I didn't see them throw. And I don't think I saw Mertz or Rourke. I may have just been looking away from the TV at the wrong times. I'm not sure. But I don't think they went either. So if someone saw either of those 2 guys throw, let me know. But to my knowledge, the other, I think 11 guys all did their throws. And we definitely got to learn some stuff. So let's talk about it a little bit as much as can be talked about. Again, we're talking about things that are a little more abstract and there is a little bit more subjectivity here. Like if Brady Cook runs a 4.59 40-yard dash, that's objective, right? He ran that 40. Like he did it in front of us. Now we can choose to ignore that 40 time and we can choose to say, "Hey, we don't think that 40 time carries any real merit. We think he's faster or we think he's slower." But he objectively did that. But when you're looking at something like throwing drills, it's definitely more subjective. But I would say that the big winner for today, from an objective standpoint, being as objective as I can, would probably be Jaxson Dart, simply because on the short and intermediate stuff, he looked very clean. And you guys know I'm not really a Jaxson Dart guy. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't understand why he's suddenly supposed to be a first round pick. To me, he's still not, because when they got to the 9 route drill, to me, you still see that his arm is not that strong, and it's hard for him to get the ball deep down the field with real velocity. And to me, the ball floats a little bit. He's got like a 50-yard arm, and there's nothing wrong with a 50-yard arm. But you got some of these other quarterbacks, even in this class that isn't very good, some of these quarterbacks clearly have bigger arms, and they're able to muscle the ball into tighter windows. So I will give Dart credit. He looked great on the short stuff and intermediate stuff. He was hitting a lot of he was hitting some out routes. He was hitting some slant routes. It looked good. So I will give credit to him for that. For me personally, the guy who caught my attention the most in the positive way would be Dylan Gabriel. That guy's got a bigger arm than I thought. That guy can fling it. That guy, he's a smaller dude. He's not somebody that you would ascribe prototype quarterback skill sets. But he showed off the arm today. Most of the throws were good. Not all of them were good, but all these quarterbacks are making so many throws, they're going to miss a couple of them. So for me personally, I think Dylan Gabriel was the guy that really stood out in the most positive manner. And I'd also say Riley Leonard. He showed off a little more arm strength than I think a lot of people were expecting. I think there's a belief that Riley Leonard might end up being like Jalen Hurts, but without the ability to throw the ball deep. Based on what I saw today, maybe he can do at least some of the deep ball stuff. So I'd say Riley Leonard looked fairly good. So those would be the guys that I thought were impressive today. Now, there was a lot of stuff going on out there that wasn't very good, and pretty much every quarterback missed at least a couple of throws. So I'm not going to act like any one player stood out here positively, but negatively, Will Howard, that was pretty bad. Will Howard missed a lot of throws. And when they threw the 9 routes, he didn't look that much better than anybody else, really. He looked maybe, I think he's got a little bit more of an arm than Dart, but I don't think that that makes up for the fact that he was really inaccurate. He missed a lot of throws out there, and I'm a Will Howard guy. I've liked him for a little while now. I've been into him for a bit, but that showing has to at least make you have second thoughts, right? So Will Howard, I just don't. I don't know what to think right now, right? I mean, I'm not going to say I'm out on him, but that was a sobering performance by Howard, and there's really not too much else you can say other than that. Like, you just have to be real about it. He missed so many throws. Jalen Milroe, I mean, it's not like I like Jalen Milroe anyway. I don't think that he's a NFL quarterback, but to me, I mean, I understand the appeal, right? He's a phenomenal athlete. He's supposed to be a big arm. He's supposed to run really fast. He's supposed to be able to run with a little bit of power. But honestly, I don't even know if I saw that. Like, he didn't do the 40 for one, so of course we can't see that stuff. But when he was throwing, I mean, some of it looked okay, I guess. But you saw some of the inaccuracy. You saw some of the stuff that you don't like from a supposed quarterback. And I didn't see him uncork the arm the way that the some of the Milroe believers thought he could, right? Like, you go back a few years to Anthony Richardson at the combine, he was unleashing like 70-yard throws, and everyone was like, "Oh, I get it now. Maybe he's not ever going to be a quarterback, but the potential's through the roof because look at those throws. Look at him flip it 70 yards down the field." From his arm. It makes sense, right? I didn't see anything like that from Milroe. He doesn't have a bad arm, but I didn't see anything that indicated to me it was that much better than any other quarterback here. Like, it's better than Seth Hennigan, it's better than Tyler Show, but I don't know. Even as an athlete, I was like, wait a minute, why are we supposed to get excited about this? Maybe Quinn Ewers as well, I would say was a little bit of a disappointment. I'm pretty out on Ewers at this point, but I thought he missed a lot of throws. Made some nice ones too, I guess, but his arm is just kind of weak, which is disappointing. And the accuracy was okay, but it's not good enough to overcome his weak arm. Those would be the main things that stood out to me from the quarterbacks this year. But at the end of the day, the best quarterbacks didn't even compete, so we didn't get the best cuts of meat here. And this is a bad quarterback class, right? It's just not a quarterback class you want to be picking your future franchise quarterback from. What I guess the best I can say from today's performances is I now could see a scenario where Jaxson Dart ends up being like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or maybe even a Chad Pennington. Probably not quite as good as Pennington because Pennington was really, really smart. But I think that his command of the short and intermediate throws is maybe a little more credible than I initially thought. I still don't get the hype. I don't know why I'm supposed to think he's QB1. I don't know why I'm supposed to think he's worthy of being a first-round pick. But he looked good today, and there's something to be said for that. I think everybody knows he doesn't have a Brett Favre arm. That doesn't mean he can't be good. And from what I saw today, I'd say he's got a pretty good chance of being good. All right. See you guys in a couple hours. We're going to move on to probably the running backs and then do wide receivers later tonight. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Maybe I'll flip it around and do the receivers first and then running backs. Everyone have a good night. Go Hawks. Going to be some late uploads tonight, so if you can't stay up and watch them, I understand. See you guys tomorrow. One more day of the Combine. By the way, I will be streaming it, so hope to see you there, and go Hawks.